Hey, what's up, guys? All right, thought I'd do a live stream. It's been a little while, so I'm doing one. There's some new stuff I'm going to react to, and also I figured we'd look at some old content as well, like some historical content. Anyway, I was expecting to have less time today to do this, and then my schedule opened up, so here we are. Okay, let's see. I saw James Aspie post something today, which is cool. It's obviously an older video, but cool to see him post something to his YouTube. Let's see, when the mind is ready. Let's share that. Okay, nice to see James. James Aspie was the first interview on my channel, so I've got a little soft place in my heart for James. He was also the first interview that we conducted on Wayne's channel. I think it wasn't the first interview that we posted, but anyway, such a nice guy. Love James Aspie.
You just been watching what we're doing here?
Yeah, you know what? I heard.
You know this is older because he doesn't have that tattoo on his neck. But it's still cool to see him post that. Hang on. Make sure that I am muted on my own. Some of this stuff is so glitchy, man. I tell you, like doing YouTube lives. So it is a crapshoot.
I heard a talk from Dan when I was down there at Powell's.
Oh, okay. Someone already spoke to you a little bit.
Yeah, they got a card and everything, so I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, there's a lot of valuable. As we've got the science, there's a lot of valuable truth here, man. You know, it's not just about the animals, but that's the main thing. But it's a better thing for all of us, for our health, for the planet. We can really do ourselves well by moving away from this exploitation, this cruelty, this killing of these innocent beings. And, you know, this is a strong form of discrimination. Probably I would say this is the largest discrimination of all ever. Because these animals, we see them as less than us. We breed them into existence. We keep them trapped against their will. We force them to do things they don't want to do. And when they're done all that, then we end their life with a knife to the throat. And fair enough if we had to survive. But we don't have to survive, man. And I think that's the thing that most people don't realize, is that we can live and thrive perfectly healthy on a plant-based diet while still eating burgers and pizzas and ice cream and all our favorite foods, just the vegan version of those foods. I mean, you know, we all know about racism. We all know about sexism. We got a long way to go until that's stamped out. But at least a huge amount of people realize the injustice in that. That skin color or man or woman, your gender, does not determine the value of your life. We're all equal. And similarly, I would take it a step further with these species and say, just because we're the human species doesn't mean that we have the right to do whatever we want to these more innocent and vulnerable than us. They can't fight back. They would never anyway. They never do anything to hurt us, man. And we treat them like this. And it's good people. It's good people who are against things like racism and sexism. It's good people who are against animal cruelty. Yeah, we don't think about it when we buy the supermarket. We go and we buy that chicken or we buy those eggs. And that's the part that we're trying to help people make that connection. It's, you're not just buying a product on the supermarket shelf. You're paying for everything that happens before that as well. Yeah. Is that food for thought, man?
It is food for thought.
Oh, that's good, bro. I'm glad to hear it.
Nice, open-minded guy right there.
Yeah, man. And like I said, you don't sacrifice anything. You live longer. You reduce your chances of those pains, those sufferings, those diseases. Everybody wins.
Actually, that's what I'm trying to do now. Get off that red meat, especially as old as you get older. You can't do this to yourself anymore. And to them, you know.
Totally. I think that's kind of the karma of it, man, is when we kill them and we eat them, they start to kill us. They clog our arteries, man. Like, oh, they'll get you. Yeah. So
it does feel like it's just like nature fighting back, you know? I mean, yeah, what goes around comes around, I guess.
No, I'm glad you're thinking about it, man. On that card that you received, there's a website called Happy Cow. That'll tell you all the places close by that you can easily eat at, that have delicious vegan options. When you go to a Mexican place, you just get the beans instead of the meat. You just get the guacamole instead of the sour cream. You know, it's easy to do, man. And there's.
Did you say the name of that?
Oh, you didn't get what I here. Let me give you the updated card, man.
Oh, okay.
I got all the resources here for you.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, man, like, if you want to start doing this, the best thing for you to do, 22 days of full support. It's just a thing you join. It's totally free. Any recipes, questions, anything like that, they'll hook you up. They'll tell you.
Okay.
And just go to vegankit.com, or even if you just type into Google how to go vegan, or let's say your favorite recipe is lasagna. You write vegan lasagna instead. It's no harder to make. They're not extravagant ingredients. It's just a couple of things you might not have thought of. Like we make cheese out of cashews, for example. You know,
Okay, yeah.
We make ice cream out of blending frozen bananas together. We make milk out of blending some almonds and some water and straining it. Like, you know, we don't need to do all this to these animals to have all these foods we enjoy.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, you got the card, you got something to think about, and you got the internet at your disposal to make it so easy. It's never been so easy to change.
Also, that's my son. He's turned vegan too.
No way.
Yeah,
There you go.
He's gone that way. He and his wife. So.
No way.
Once you have someone in your family too, then you sort of get rid of the whole isolating aspect. So he's already got a leg up. You know, he's already got someone to do it with, to learn from, to experience it with. That makes it so much easier. I wonder what happened. I wonder if this guy got on board. Like I said, this is clearly like an older video. I don't know how many years ago this was.
Wait, man. And what was that? What was the reason for that?
Same reason. Just said,
For animal rights.
Mostly for health.
Mostly for health initially.
But yeah, I'm sure animal rights has something to do with it.
I think that, you know, me personally, I initiated for health as well. I started going on that path. But then there's a really good Buddhist quote, and it is that the consumption of animal products extinguishes the seed of great compassion. And I really found that when I
I like that.
stopped animal
Let's hear that
products,
again.
but then there's a really good Buddhist quote, and it is that the consumption of animal products extinguishes the seed of great compassion. And I really found that when I stopped, because I never cared about animals, but when I stopped eating them, I started to feel like I was growing in compassion for them, and I could feel more for them. And I've gone to somebody who didn't really like even dogs to like a massive. I love animals now, man. Like if I can spend some time with a cow, man, I'm stoked. Like there's some life highlights for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You got someone real close to you who can help you out. I'm sure they'd be happy to hear you going vegan because, you know, they care about you and they're going to want you to live long, healthy life as well.
Oh yeah, he'll be very happy for me to go ahead on and take the steps to do it, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I'm inching my way towards this, so maybe I'll just start rushing towards it. Well, at least easing it.
You know what, man? You do whatever feels comfortable. You could do it overnight. You could do it over weeks. You could do it over months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to do it in a way that you try and it's too hard and you just put it in the too hard basket, right? Maybe you start with, okay, I'm gonna figure out a couple of things I enjoy for breakfast, a couple of vegan meals. And then when you've got your blueberries on top of your oats for breakfast, sort of or you got avocado on toast, or you're just having cereal, a vegan one with almond milk or soy milk, boom, breakfast done. Then move on to lunch, move on to dinner. Mm-hmm. And when your toothpaste runs out, just look up vegan toothpaste.
Yeah, James is really good at just kind of vibing with people. You know, he's such a friendly guy. So I'm sure he was so effective at doing these outreach talks.
Whatever supermarket you already go
AV cubes and whatnot.
Boom, it's already there, man. You just get that one instead of that one. This one wasn't tested on animals. It doesn't contain animal pieces. And you bring a suffering to a lot of individuals.
You know, I got a little story to tell you.
Yeah.
I was at a Park District event recently, and
what's that?
Huh?
What's the Park District event?
Oh, it's what it was. You know, I work for the San Francisco Park District.
Oh, okay, right.
So we had a big event.
Cool. Oh, they're in San Francisco right now.
Over there, Fort Mason, and we heard that we were going to have dinner afterwards. It was going to be at a vegan restaurant.
Yeah, right. So there you go.
So at the pre-dinner thing, we start stocking up on crap because
I would have done the same thing.
Because we said,
we can't just eat lettuce. Yeah.
Be able to eat.
Yeah.
To show up.
Right.
Get there, and the food is delicious.
No way. There you go.
It was fantastic.
What did they have?
It was. I had some kind of mushroom dish. It was like mushrooms in a. It was baked in some kind of crust or something.
Yeah.
I forgot what.
Guys, speaking of mushrooms, I'm a big fan of that Eat Meaty brand, MEATI, Eat Meaty. You know, the mushroom steaks and stuff. And I saw on Veg News dropped a story yesterday that Eat Meaty has run into an issue that they lost their lender or their financer or something. And they're in danger of being shut down in May unless they can find a new backer, basically. That would be terrible because those are such healthy dishes. Like I just throw them in the oven like one of those Eat Meaty things. I just put the oven on 450, throw it in for like 20-25 minutes. No oil, super healthy, tastes like a steak or a chicken fillet or whatever. I'm a big fan of that Eat Meaty. What's up, Vegan Heretic? Vegan Heretic, aren't you the one who wrote the book Vegan versus the Versus? I'm just basing that on your photo. Is that right? Spooky Veg Head. Locally, nobody but meaty brands, and so we usually get them in the discount for $1.99. They're crazy healthy and delicious. Yeah, they're so good. So good. I've never got them that cheap before. Well, nice to have you here, Vegan Heretic. Yeah, if you guys, I guess there's just 3 people in here right now, but Spooky Veg Head, if you haven't read, I'm blanking on your name, Vegan Heretic, but that book is great. Vegan versus the Verses. I found out about that one from Natalie Fulton, and I was really interested in learning how to talk to Christians about animal rights because I'm not a spiritual person. I mean, I'm spiritual, but I'm not a religious person. So it was great to have that resource. Great book.
Yeah. That sounds beautiful.
And I said, you know what? I need to give this a try. And that's when I started doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I had the same experience. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this because I think it's the right thing to do. Yeah. I don't want to contribute to that.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Am I going to be sacrificing my enjoyment of food? Probably, but it's the right thing to do. Plus, I'm excited to be healthier and live longer and whatever. But then I went vegan and I was like, whoa, man, look at all these amazing things I would never have eaten before.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
Yeah, so I'm eating better now than ever before. And, like a lot of people think when they go vegan, they'll lose a lot of weight. And some do if you eat the healthy foods. But then a lot of people also go vegan. They're like, man, I put on like 20 pounds because I found all this vegan junk food and and Oreos are vegan and chocolate's vegan. And so they find all these foods, man, and it doesn't go as planned. But yeah, all the delicious foods are there for us too. I'm stoked you had that experience at the restaurant, man. Because that's a big thing. Like people think, how could I do this? I can't just survive on whatever they eat. I don't want to eat rabbit food all the time. And it's like, man, I eat burgers, I eat enchiladas, I eat cake still, I eat whatever already I was eating, just now vegan versions. Just the versions made of just the plants.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
It's great, man. It's something else.
You on the path, my brother. Jim?
Good to meet you, man.
Likewise, bro. Yeah, likewise, man.
So
good luck
good.
on your journey, bro. No worries.
Such a nice conversation. James is so great. Well, we got Vegan Heretic here, and Vegan Heretic put out a video like 4 days ago. Let's watch it. Was that going to embarrass you if we watch your video while you're here? Let's do that. Let me know if that's going to embarrass you too much. I love reacting to stuff while the person's in the chat, because then we can ask questions. You don't want it? You want me to do it, Vegan Heretic? I won't do it if you don't want me to. I could just share. I'll just share it. People should go check out this video, huh? Would you rather I just share that? It's okay? Okay. Well, here is the video we're going to react to here.
All right. Hey, troops. I have got a direct message this time. And I wish you would have.
Hang on, let me change the screen here. There we go. There we go.
Posted, whoever you are, your name is Christian. Right on. His name is Christian.
That excited you, huh?
And it's a direct message, but I'm not really sure what video of mine he's referring to. So I don't know how to answer completely, but I'll just roll with it because I enjoy that. So let's see. It starts off. Christian said starts off. This is what it says, or is it over here? Maybe I should move over here so I can post it there. No. Oh wait, it's maybe on the bottom half. I'll put it on the bottom. So there we go. It's down here. I'm talking
Like
as if
me.
I know what I'm going to do in advance. I don't know how I'm going to edit this. All right. It says, where does it specify it's for animals? It doesn't. Where does what specify? Be more specific if you're going to be mad at me, be more
Be more specific with your anger.
specific so I can answer. All right. Not that you're going to listen, but I'll try. And that's really why I do a lot of this. I know a lot of times people write and they post things because
You have a very interesting story too, learning about your past from your book. What a life. That's a cool life you've led, huh?
they're just mad. I dig it. But I also know, it's like when I do debates, like with pastors and stuff, I'm not doing it to win the debate. I'm doing it so the audience, the congregation, the people can hear the opposing points of view. I'm not going to try and change his. I'm not going to change his mind. He's not going to change mine. And Christian, I'm probably not going to change yours. You're probably not going to change mine. I'm open to having my mind changed. I've had my mind changed many times. I started out life as a Jew. Now I'm a Christian. I started life out as a meat eater. Now I'm a vegan. I'm open. If I can see evidence to change, I'll change. But either way, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because like a lot of it's like when you're debating with someone and people think that you're the one that's being like closed-minded, and it's like I used to eat animals, so obviously I had to have an open mind to change. So yeah, present a good argument and we're receptive to that. But the problem is there's not really great arguments for eating animals. Not really any.
I ran off on a tangent. Calm down, Steve. All right. So where does it say it specifies it's for animals? It doesn't. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, what's up, James? Thanks for doing the work every day. Vegan sign guy. You're keeping me on my toes with your name changes. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, James, you had the Christian argument not too long ago. You were dealing with that on the street.
But I'm going to assume you were talking about, I said something.
Have you checked out this book before, James? Vegan versus the Verses. Gotta bounce for a few to make my sister dinner. I'll try to jump back in when I'm done. Thank you, Veg Chad. Appreciate that.
Out of the Bible where I applied a verse to animals. I don't know why anyone would assume it doesn't.
Yeah.
Good. When we look back in Genesis, I think is it Genesis chapter 9? I really should have looked that up before I came on here and did this. In Genesis chapter 9, I think 5-6 times God makes covenants with animals. He included animals in his covenants. I don't know why I should think a scripture doesn't include animals. When it comes to being compassionate, kind, merciful, why wouldn't that conclude animals? I think those commands that we would get in Colossians where, a godly man shows mercy, kindness, compassion, things like that. I would think those automatically, without question, apply to those that are weaker than us, that are more innocent than us, that are more childlike, that have no guilt, or even animals. Even I'm not saying they're stupid.
Isn't that cool? Like this, you're making the same point. James Aspie was making the same point in his outreach.
Stupid, but even if they are considered stupid, why would we not give them?
And I don't think James Aspie was coming at it from any kind of religious perspective. I don't think James Aspie is a particularly religious person. He brought up that great Buddhist quote, though. Maybe he identifies more as like Buddhist.
compassion. Why would we not consider verses about compassion applied to them? Whoa. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's go to the next one. If you're going to weaponize scripture, at least read it first. That's what it says. That's what it says. I don't know how I'm weaponizing it. If it's a weapon, people use weapons to attack. If you feel I'm attacking you with scripture, it's not a weapon. I'm just giving you my understanding of it. Look, we can both look at the same verses. There are people, when they looked at a verse in the Bible, they said, this supports slavery. And then there are people who came along and said, no, it's the same verse, but it doesn't support slavery. The question is, what's in your heart when you look at that? Are you looking at a reason to justify animal abuse, or are you looking for a reason to fight it? I kind of go this way. You kind of seem like you're leaning this way. I'm assuming, because you didn't give me enough information to go on with your post. So I'm assuming. So my question would be, if I'm weaponizing scripture, and I think that kind of leads into the same area of, having a predisposition, a bias. So yeah, I have a bias to be compassionate and merciful to those I can be compassionate and merciful to. So again, I think that's part of my Christian nature. Once you ask Jesus into your heart and you do all that religious mumbo jumbo that us Christians do, all of a sudden it's like, you want to be nice to people, even people who are mean to you, which is why I'm being nice to you. Yeah, that was a dig. Okay. Humans may be biologically animals, but the Bible makes it crystal clear there's a distinction. We're made in God's.
Stephen, yeah, got it. I looked up your book again. Yeah, this is when, to me, religion can be very beautiful, when someone is using the Bible or any kind of spirituality to make themselves a kinder person, someone who protects others, instead of using Bible verses to attack and denigrate someone and try to justify behavior. So, Stephen, thank you so much for embodying the best of Christianity.
Image, given dominion over the earth, and oh yeah, God literally approved eating animals in Genesis 9:3. Okay, if it was crystal clear, you wouldn't have had to put that in here, because I obviously said something contrary. I'm assuming, again, you're
Christian. I can only imagine how many triggered comments you have to deal with all the time, Stephen.
Christian. We read the same Bible. I'm coming out with a different understanding than you are. My understanding is compassionate and merciful. Your understanding brings about violence and death. I'm not weaponizing that. I don't know how you get any of that. I mean, yes, we were made in God's image, but I'm thinking about in Genesis chapter 1, when
Stephen, what do you think? Was God made in my image? Or was I made in God's image? Because that's not a very handsome God, gotta say. You're a handsome fella. Maybe you were made in God's image. Let's hope I wasn't.
God says we're made in his image. What did we know about God that was Genesis 1:27. So this is Genesis 1:20. So that 27, we had 27, 26 verses prior that tell us what we know about God at that point. So what we got is Genesis 1:1 all the way up to 1:26 saying God created, God creates this, God creates that. God made animals to do this. God made animals to do that. We have a Garden of Eden, where a place where there is no death. All this beauty, all this wonderful, incredible stuff that God made, that God gave life. And somehow you think dominion means we can take away life. We can end all that beautiful stuff that God created. I don't know where you guys get that. So, I mean,
yeah. Why, if like the perfect vision was like the Garden of Eden, then why don't people want to return to that instead of going into the direction that we've gone? It's so sad, because all the signs that this is wrong are there, just blatantly right in front of our eyes. The rampant disease we're spreading, the rampant heart disease, the death, animals suffering that is hidden away from people, the destruction of our land. It's just so sad. We could just protect things instead of destroying them. And the way that the way that I was brought up to understand, and I wasn't brought up with religion, but the way I understood Jesus was meant to be someone about peace and kindness. So why do people embrace like cruelty and darkness? I don't get it.
It's, you know, also I'm going to go and that's Genesis 127 and 128. When we get to 129, right after God gives us dominion, those of us who were made in his image, our dominion has vegan boundaries in 129. Then if you read 130, even the animals have vegan boundaries. I mean, we got 31 verses where Moses, or God through Moses, gave us a whole rundown of how the world was created, how everything was created. And in all of its beauty and all of its marvelousness, not even a word, I'm making this up. In all this great stuff that God did, he took time twice to give vegan boundaries to dominion and being made in his image. I mean, if we saw his image and it was creating, giving life in a place called the Garden of Eden where there is no death. Remember, death didn't come in until, that's Genesis chapter 1, 2, 3. Sin and death didn't enter the world until Genesis chapter 3. We're still dealing with over here. There's just, I don't know how you can do it. So I see, well, whatever. Well, then you went on to say God literally approved eating animals as Genesis 9:3. Okay, Genesis 9:3. Creation, Genesis 9:3. We got about, is it 1,200 years of history between Genesis and Noah, when God gave Noah permission to eat the animals in Genesis chapter 9. But you're kind of skipping Genesis chapter 9, verse 2. If you're going to quote verse 3, part 2 for verse 2 is kind of important, because it says the fear and the dread of humans will be put on animals. Now, if God had to put it on animals, that means dread.
And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast. It's hard for me to make sense of the meaning of that.
Of humans will be put on animals, because it says the fear and the dread of humans will be put on animals. Now, if God had to put it on animals, that means it wasn't there prior. All right. Yeah. This God saying we could eat animals was a part of a curse. It wasn't his ideal way. Remember, boom, 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 back in Genesis 1, his idea was no pain, no death, no suffering. Now, all of a sudden, he wipes out the entire world because of their violent ways. Now, the violent and wickedness. I want to add a little bit more to violent and wickedness on why God, through Noah, destroyed the entire earth. People were doing violent and wicked things. We don't know exactly what those violent and wicked things were. We can find out. I mean, we can look to extra biblical sources. Now, I don't consider non-canonical books the word of God, but they're good for history. They give us an idea. Could they be right? Could they be wrong? Yeah. But at least they give us some insights. But if we don't look at those, we can look into the New Testament. Boom, boom, boom. That's over here, where Jesus says it'll be like in the days of Noah. I think it was in Luke and Matthew, where Jesus says it'll be like in the days of Noah, where they were eating and drinking and giving in marriage. Days of Noah, where they were.
As it was in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage up to the day Noah entered the ark. Let's see. Let me catch up with comments real quick. Dominion auto translates to cull, R, and oppress. Gotcha. What would Jesus do in 2025? 100% vegan for his animals. Yeah, I would say. More details here, heretic. Maybe for some of us, but you should just direct them, I think, right, to the book. That's what you should do. Yeah, this is good stuff.
Eating and drinking and giving in marriage. So if we go back here to Genesis, where it says God destroyed the world, in Genesis 9, where he said we could eat the moving things, he said he was destroying the world because of their wickedness. Here, Jesus is saying the wickedness included eating. Well, in a vegan world, remember Genesis 1, 29 and 30,
right.
He said we're supposed to be vegan. Well, how do you eat in a violent, wicked way? I mean, is it violent to pull an apple off a tree, to pull a carrot out of the ground? No. The only
Oh, come on, Stephen. I heard that plants actually scream when you pluck an apple from a tree. They emit a scream using their vocal cords, and it comes out of their tree mouth.
violent, wicked way would be to ignore God's rules of Genesis 1:29, plants will be our food, and eat things that are come from violence. That's the only way I can understand that verse. Maybe you got some other insights that, you picked up from some other way. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm already at 10 minutes of babbling on I'll keep going. I don't care. I got pizza in the oven. It's going to take another 15 minutes to warm up. So let's see. So let's go back to Genesis chapter 9. When it does say we could eat the moving things, if you read all of Genesis 8, 7, Genesis 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Tomatoes can cry.
We see God listing the animals. He lists them when he creates.
Thank you for adding to my knowledge too, James. I didn't know tomatoes can cry. Probably onions, because they make you cry. And when I see someone crying, that's when my tears start to well up. So maybe onions are crying when you cut them.
Creates them. He lists them as he talks about them. In other words, he goes and says the birds of the air, the animals that swim in the ocean, the cattle of the field, blah, blah, blah. He keeps breaking them up into different categories. And one of those categories is moving things or creeping things. Sometimes, depending on what version you got. I'll stick with the creeping things version just for right now. Okay, creeping. He says God made the birds that fly.
Those animals be creeping around.
Did this. He made this.
It's a weird translation.
Creeping things. So he does that over in Genesis 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, and 8. And finally, in Genesis chapter 9, he says, you can eat the creeping things. He doesn't say you can eat cows, chickens, and pigs, the cattle, the things that swim, the things that fly, the birds that fly. No, he said the creeping things. That's a good thing to figure out, isn't it? Because it doesn't, obviously, he isn't telling us we can eat cows. So no, this doesn't include going to the grocery store or your drive-through burger joint. We can only eat the creeping things. The Hebrew word is remes, R-E-M-E-S. I think it's pronounced remish or something like that. I wish I learned Hebrew. I really do. Oh well, but I didn't. So I had to look it up on a concordance. Please, you do it too. And if you look in the Bible in a concordance where it lists all the uses of the word remes, it never refers to cows, chickens, pigs, lamb chops, or whatever it is you want justification to eat. Okay, it only talks about that one specific things. Remes is always creeping things, which is like locusts and beetles and maybe reptiles, okay, that swarm on the ground, things that swarm, okay? That is the proper. God was giving Noah permission just to eat those. So for you to use it for permission and say it's clearly, I think you said it's God makes it crystal clear. It's not crystal clear. Read the original. Read the Hebrew, and you'll find out that wow, all we got permission for, all Noah, got permission for, was to eat the creeping things. All right. So
Noah got permission to eat the creeps. That's it. I didn't know that. This is interesting.
Let's see now. So last line. So don't cherry pick verses to fit your agenda unless you are ready to get schooled on your own book.
It's your book.
I have a book. Is that what you're referring to? Again, I don't know what you're referring to, what you're commenting on. I have it. Where's my book? I have a book.
There we go.
See right there?
Vegan. Wait.
I hope you like it. Vegans first. Oh, it's
all
wrapped in plastic. You can't see. Wrapped in plastic.
Vegan versus.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're referring to that book because chances are you never read it. Because if you did, you wouldn't say the things you're saying because it's making you look like you don't know what you're talking about. All right. So you're telling me don't cherry pick verses. Again, okay, don't cherry pick verses to fit your agenda, you said. I am. And the cherry that I'm picking is compassion and mercy.
Yeah.
Why isn't every Christian doing that? I don't get it.
Right.
That's our job as Christians.
Yeah.
Okay. So get ready to get schooled on your own book. The Bible is not my book. I didn't write it. It was written by about 40, a minimum of 40 authors over a 1,500-year period, a couple thousand years ago, at least, if not, and longer, if you get into the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. So there you go. I think, oh, what have I got? I got almost 15 minutes talking to you about this. But it was fun. Thank you very much for your direct message. Anybody else listening? I hope that this is you found this kind of interesting. Went over a few things. A lot of these answers, I sarcastically said, are in my book. If you want to pick it up, great. If not, I don't want you to have to pay for things. In my description down below, I put 2 links to other people who work within Christian theology, vegan theology. One of them is called Vegan Theology. I highly recommend their podcast. And another one is Creation Care Church. Pastor Craig, he's amazing. He's got, I don't know, the first 40 weeks of his YouTube channel are sermons, one a week, every Friday night live, he does it. And it answers a lot of the questions. It will answer a lot of the questions that you posted here, or a lot of, it won't, those aren't really questions. Those are more objections, I think is what you're saying. So he'll answer a lot of your objections. They're free. If you don't like me, and I don't blame you, sometimes I don't like me either. All right. But if you don't like me,
you're good.
Go check him out. Craig is a great guy. He's not obnoxious like me. He's very meek, and meek doesn't mean weak. Right. It's like a harness strength. I mean, it's like he sits there and then all of a sudden, bam, he says something and you go, crap, do I feel guilty? All right. So he's a great kind of pastor dude. Vegan theology is kind of like going to college and listening to a professor. Kevin and Sarah Hale are fantastic. Kevin and Sarah Hale. I slurred their words when I slurred their names. I got pizza on my mind. I'm going to go get that pizza because I'm looking at the time. It's ticking.
Damn, look at that thing. Looks pretty damn good. What is on that? Got some mushrooms, some crumbles of some sort.
I know it's hot. It better not burn. Okay, if it burns, I'm coming at you, dude. Your direct mail ruined my pizza. So check those out. Those are free sources, and that's it. I'm gonna go eat. Bye.
Great video, Stephen. So that is Vegan Heretic. I'm gonna link to it again. Y'all go sub to Vegan Heretic and give that video some love. Upton's chorizo, nice. There's the link for that. Well, I pulled up this this old Tom Reagan interview that I haven't watched. Thought maybe we could watch it. This is interesting. It's like in 4 parts. I'm getting more interested in the history of all this stuff and why we're still fighting these battles, however many decades after these great interviews and talks and everything. What's up, Dennis? Okay, let's go. Tom Reagan. The great Tom Reagan. Damn it. Bad at my typing there. You just missed it, Dennis. We just watched Vegan Heretic. You're gonna have to scroll back. Oops, wrong one. Hang on. See, I'm bad at it too, Steven. I'm so bad. And I had been for like the first few months, I kept being able to say, don't worry, I'm new to this. But now I feel like that excuse, it doesn't work anymore. Because people are like, yeah, but you've been doing it. So get it together.
Okay,
check this out. This is going to be
I
interesting.
just want to say hello to a few people in the audience. Excuse me, what's your name?
Katie,
Katie. What did you have for your evening meal this evening?
I had an omelette.
An omelette?
Yes, cooked by my mum.
Okay, it's an omelette made of eggs,
Yeah,
which, had they been left alone, would have become little chickens.
possibly.
All right, okay. What did you have?
Potatoes and fish.
Little fish that swims in the sea?
Yeah.
All right, okay. What did you have?
Chicken.
A chicken. A bit of a chicken.
A bit of a chicken.
A bit of a chicken. And what did you have?
Chicken as well.
Okay, a bit of chicken. What did you have, sir?
Steak.
Steak. What sort of steak?
It's a rare steak.
Rare steak.
Rare steak, yeah.
Fresh in off the field, more or
Boy,
less.
oh boy.
Okay, what did you have?
Some beef.
Beef.
Bunch of
That's
carnists
very
in
interesting. I
this
mean, people
audience.
clearly enjoy animal products. But what
Did they stage that? Because I feel like you'd get like one person in that would be like, oh, I had some, vegetables or something like vegetarians were common.
you had for your tea, many people, but particularly my next guest, would regard as a barbaric kind of thing to do. He says there is absolutely no justification for having body parts in our freezers. He's called for a complete end to all commerce in the flesh of dead animals. In other words, an end to farming. Animals, he says,
No,
have the same rights as
animal
humans,
farming.
and we are being racist in our treatment of them. He's sitting
You're being speciesist in your treatment of animals. You could call it racism, I suppose.
beside me, Professor Tom Reagan. You're very welcome
Tom
to
Reagan.
the program.
Thank you
Professor
very
Tom
much.
Reagan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me see.
Now, what's
Let me
interesting,
see.
Tom, about you is
I think this was like reposted, so I'm not sure. 15 years ago, maybe not. 15 years. No, let's see. That would put this at 2010. It's probably much older than that.
he used to be a butcher.
That's true. And first, let me thank you for the opportunity to be here and express my ideas. But yeah, when I was growing up in the industrial part of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, back in the States, I came from a meat and potatoes family.
Yeah.
And for my father, having meat on the table was a sign that he was succeeding. He was living the American dream. And so when I was in college to earn money to help pay the bills for college, I worked as a butcher. And it wasn't anything that I thought about as something raising any kind of ethical question for me at all.
What brought about the change?
Well, so far as I have an insight into that, it was a combination of factors, but the most important thing was my wife, who's Nancy Reagan, by the way. I always tell people that, I'm married to Nancy Reagan, but my wife, Nancy, and I were active in the anti-war movement during the Vietnam period. And we were thinking that America should not be involved in that war because it involved violence that we didn't think could be justified. And during that period, we thought about other aspects of our life that might involve violence. And we read Gandhi's work, and Gandhi's basically spoke from the page to us, so to speak, and said, if you think that violence against human beings is wrong if you can't justify it, how can you justify those dead body parts you mentioned in your freezer? What's the necessity of that in your life? And if you can justify that, please tell me, Professor Reagan, so to speak. And if not, think about it. And so we thought about it, and we couldn't find a good reason that would justify that kind of violence.
Nice.
What is the argument you have, though?
Just figured it out on his own. Like someone asked him a question. He didn't have to watch like some documentary or anything. He just used his brain. He used his brain.
I mean, from time immemorial, in the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament.
Here we go. Well, we got Stephen here.
Killing the animals of the Old Testament. The argument you
See how
have,
Tom
though,
deals
I
with it.
mean, from time immemorial, in the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, people have been killing the animals of the earth or taking the fish from the sea in order to provide nourishment for them and their families.
Sure. Well, first off, actually, in the Bible, if we talk about the Bible, and then I'll talk about the other question, part of the question you asked. But in the Bible, if you actually look at what's said in Eden, when Adam and Eve are in Eden, before the fall, before the disobedience, you look at the diet that's given to human beings in that state of perfection. This is what God hoped for, the best for human beings. It was actually a vegan diet. It was herbs and nuts and berries and the like.
How do we know this?
Well, it says it in Genesis, verse 129.
Did he not give them dominion over all the creatures of the earth?
No, this is after the fall. This is after the period of disobedience and the expulsion from the garden.
But I mean, can I just interrupt you to say that, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but Eve was told by the Lord to stay away from apples. So, I mean, I don't think we should go too far down that road. It's just that killing the fat.
You brought it up, dude. You're the one who brought it up. So he's answering what you brought up. Okay, back in a few, Stephen. Cool. Yeah, that host is a little bit triggered. His starting out. Let's talk to the audience and find out that they all ate animal products. Was that kind of like poisoning the well a little bit? Kind of seemed like it.
Calf, the sacrificial
Yeah.
lamb, the loaves and the fishes.
Yeah.
You know, it's all there.
Well, I only want to say that that's half of the story, not the whole story. So to the extent that you want to bring the Bible in, the Bible is a mixed message. But the other, the more fundamental point, I think, is this, that we don't think that we find out how we should live by finding out how others have lived in the past. We don't usually make that inference. We don't think that we should be not having our television sets and not using our computers and so on because our ancestors didn't do that. We don't think that we should continue to practice slavery today in America because our ancestors did that. We
Right.
don't usually reason from the past as a basis for what we should do in the present.
Right.
And so even if it were true that uniformly in the past, all our predecessors have eaten animals, it doesn't follow that we should.
Okay.
And in fact, of course, the vast majority of people in the world today don't eat animals. 2/3 of the world's population doesn't involve animal products.
Do you believe, though, that the reason you shouldn't eat animals is because the animals have the same rights as we have?
I don't think they have all the same rights, and no animal rights person thinks that, Pat. I think that we don't think.
Gotcha. Well, hello, Dennis. Hi. There's another one for you.
They should have the right to vote, and we don't think they should have the right to divorce, and we don't think they should have those sorts of rights. What we do think is really very simple. We think that they should have we should recognize the right to be treated with respect in their case that we recognize in your case. And what that means in particular is this. If everybody in the audience would benefit by exploiting you, I would stand up and defend you and say this is not a justified treatment of you just because others are going to benefit. That's what the right to be treated with respect involves. So similarly, what an animal rights person thinks is that other animals should not be treated in the way we treat them just because we're going to benefit from doing it, because we find it convenient, because we find it economically advantageous, because we find it.
Well, and in fact, we don't benefit from it. We are harmed by it. The world is harmed by it. Animals are harmed by it. But even if, he's making the great point.
Customary, because we find it enjoyable. Those are not
Okay,
sufficiently good reasons
where
to
do
violate
you
somebody's
stop
rights.
coming down? I mean, lots of people would say, I would never eat an ape because, you know, they're so like us.
Sure.
And other people say, I'd never eat my pet dog because I know my dog is an intelligent.
So egocentric. I wouldn't eat an ape because they're so like us. Or I wouldn't eat my dog because I like dogs. Well, take you out of the equation and then justify it. You don't have to be part of the equation at all. You could just say, I wouldn't eat an ape because I wouldn't want to be eaten myself. Okay, that's keeping you in the equip. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. I'm not the most articulate today, perhaps.
Intelligence, and I like my dog. My dog likes me.
Sure.
But what about the wasp? You know, what about the mosquito?
Right.
Where do you stop in terms of?
What about them? Don't kill the wasp. If the mosquito's biting you, then maybe you have a right to self-defense. Why not just stop at kindness? How about that? Where does it end? Where does it end? It could just end at being kind. That's where it all could end. We wouldn't even have to analyze or talk about this stuff. If the world would just get on board with the simple notion of being kind.
Of affording respect to other living creatures on the earth.
I think that is a profoundly difficult question. And I always say that wherever you draw the line.
Nah, not perfect. He's being a little more, what's the word? Goddamn, blanking on everything. Diplomatic. He's being a little more diplomatic to this guy. Meet him where he's at.
Draw with pencil because you might want to erase it because you find something out that you didn't know before. But
where do you draw the line?
Yeah, where I draw the line is with animals where we have sufficiently good reason to think that they're not only in the world, but aware of the world and aware of what happens to them and that what happens to them matters to them. And in particular, that they can experience pain and pleasure, fear, and relief. So where that is, I'm not sure exactly, but it certainly is the case that the animals that are raised, commercially raised for our food, cattle, sheep, hogs, those animals, chickens, certainly are above the line wherever any reasonable person would draw it. What you do about mollusk and oysters and so on, I don't know. But I give them the benefit of the doubt because I have no reason to.
Hell yeah. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I agree with that. Okay, here's part 2 of this. This is a 4-parter.
Is the case that the animals that are raised, commercially raised for our food, cattle, sheep, hogs, those animals, chickens, certainly are above the line wherever any reasonable person would draw it. What you do about mollusk and oysters and so on, I don't know. But I give them the benefit of the doubt because I have no reason to eat them.
We used to be certainly meat eaters.
No reason to eat them.
Our bodies are equipped to be
I have no reason to eat them.
We used to be certainly meat eaters. Our bodies are equipped to be omnivorous, to eat grains and all the rest of it, or to eat meat.
That's correct.
Okay. If that is so, I mean, doesn't it point in the direction of nature saying, yes, it is perfectly okay in the scheme of things for just as a lion will kill what the lion wants to eat? Or
why does everyone go to lions? It's just so interesting that everybody talks about lions. Everybody is... I feel like this interview must have predated The Lion King, and I thought it was just because of Lion King. Everybody's talking about the circle of life because of that song. But no, it's deeper. It's more insidious than I even imagined.
Provide for the pride of lions. So too humans, because of their physiological makeup, are equipped to eat this stuff, so therefore it must be okay.
Well, what our biology tells us, I think, is that we can eat a diet that includes meat. We can certainly handle that.
Yeah.
What our biology doesn't tell us is the ethical question: what ought we to do? How ought we to live? We can never infer that we ought to live a certain way because we can live a certain way. All that gives us is the question of the choice. In the case of the lion,
right, you could live your life harming people. You could do that. Should you do that? Maybe not.
And for example, in the wildebeest, the lion and the zebra,
yeah.
It's not like the lion has a choice of saying, well, I think I will go after this wildebeest today, or I'll go have some tofu or go to the salad bar. I mean, this is not a real option for a carnivore like this. Our great glory and our great burden as human beings is we do have the choice. And the question is, what factors should we bring to bear on making that choice? In terms of personal health, everybody knows, and it's not a question anymore, that a high-fat, high-cholesterol, meat-based diet is not good for us. We all know that.
But a little of what you fancy.
Yeah,
but
that doesn't answer the question, well, should we not eat meat at all? That's where the ethical question comes in, I think. And so all I'm saying here is that the mere fact that we can eat meat doesn't mean that we should eat meat.
Okay, so you draw the line. I mean, would you eat lobster?
I would not, no. And as I say, my basis is, where do you have sufficiently good reason to think that this animal is not only in the world, but aware of the world? And I think
it's a pretty elegant way of putting it. Not only in the world, but aware of the world.
That is a difficult question.
If you take the wildebeest you talked about, or a gazelle, and you look at all these nature programs on the National Geographic Channel, as all of us do from time to time, and the lion chases the gazelle, and the gazelle runs away and escapes. It never ceases to amaze me how quickly the gazelle settles down and starts eating the grass again. Now, if that happened to me, I wouldn't hang around where the lion's hanging around. I'd be gone. So it seems to tell us something about, what you're talking about. The gazelle can feel fear. It doesn't have the same effect on the gazelle as it would have on us.
What? They run away, dude. You're saying when they're safe again, then they start eating grass? This is a weird point. He's saying when he watches nature documentaries, and he's talking about a documentary that presumably has been edited. This is so dumb. He's saying it tells us something, that when I'm watching a nature documentary on the BBC, that the gazelle is being chased by a lion or the zebra is being chased by a lion, and then as soon as they're no longer being chased, they go right back to eating grass. It tells me that they don't feel fear at all. What?
If you were chased by a lion, you wouldn't want to repeat the experience, and yet the gazelle puts him or herself in the way of a repeat experience, and probably in the next few minutes.
What? What nature documentary are you watching? I want to see this documentary.
Well,
So it tells us something about the limits of their intelligence and how much is instinctive behavior and how much is actually.
This interview is telling me something about the limits of your intelligence. That's what I'm learning. The limits of your intelligence.
Contemplated. I mean, they don't say, will I run or will I not? They just run. I mean, it's absolutely reflex.
Dude, it's reflex for you. If someone's coming at you with a knife, you're not going to say, pause for a moment, let's say axe murderer, because that sounds better. Pause for a moment, axe murderer. I need to consider whether or not I should run from you or not. Give me a minute. Ah. I said, wait. I said, wait. What is wrong with this guy? You have reflexes that you act on as well. You run away from danger, just like animals. God damn it. I'm sorry I keep saying that word right after we watched a nice religious segment. That's just habit. I repent.
I think if we talk to people who study animal behavior, and I don't do it, I'm a philosopher, and of course your line of work is not to study animal behavior, but if we actually go and talk to the Jane Goodalls and the Diane Fosse's.
This guy came face to face with a lion, he would have a stiff drink when he got away. Yeah, he would. And he'd be telling that story to all his friends. He'd put it on his program. I ran from a lion. But, you know, we do know that first he considered whether he was going to run from that lion.
And other people who go, ethologists who go and study animal behavior. I mean,
they studying primates still more than.
Yeah, but I mean, others who study others. I mean, there are lots of people studying animal behavior of lots of different animals. I think that they would say in a case like the one you're imagining or describing, is that a lot of this is not real behavior. In other words, a lot of it is the lion's really not serious. This is just an exercise of dominance, an exercise of whatever. So and the other animals sometimes I think recognize that. But the important thing I think
I have to stop this here. Like this guy's, we're not usually, when we're talking about documentaries, they're usually not a seamless one scene. There's usually like splices and edits. So it doesn't mean that it happened like, I mean, I'd love to see this documentary that he's talking about where a gazelle was being chased by a lion and then just started grazing on grass like immediately. I mean, maybe it exists, but it doesn't really tell us anything informative.
For us, though, is not to lose track of where we are in the world. We're not on the Serengeti Plain. We're not in a predator-prey relationship. Our situation is that we are raising literally billions of animals to be slaughtered, not on some plain, but in some factory farms. And what we've seen recently here in Great Britain, of course, or over there in Great Britain, is the tragedy of the cost of this kind of farming. And people are beginning to realize, it's so interesting to me, the great public support for this woman in Scotland who has these 5 sheep.
In her living room.
That's right, in her living room, trying to protect these 5 sheep with her pets, and the great mass of sentiment in her defense because of the relationship that she has to those animals as her pets or her companion animals.
Yeah. It turns out that she hardly knows them. She bought them from an Irishman who's going back to live in Northern Ireland. And I mean, she just wanted to give them a happy home so they could live out their lives in peace and die a natural death. But she doesn't know them that well.
Well, I'm not sure how well she knows them, but
why does she need to know them? What are we talking about? What is happening? I have no idea what case they're talking about.
What I do know is that when the public speaks about this issue, they say with a pretty strong majority, that these animals should be saved and protected and so on.
Right.
But at the same time, the animals that are raised for lamb chops and
Right.
a lamb roast, like a lamb, are in a different category. And it does point out, doesn't it, that we have a kind of moral schizophrenia, all of us, in the sense that the animals that are our friends and companions are in one category.
Okay, once you put
and
a
the other
name
animals
on
in another.
Daisy the cow, Daisy is not to be slaughtered. But we have someone, Eugene Kieran's, who is a butcher. Eugene, what do you make of this kind of philosophy?
Well, it's funny because like you can't put the name on the cow, but all these, marketing teams, they always have like cartoons of cows and pigs. It's so macabre, like you've got Piggly Wiggly, a little cartoon of a pig where they're serving up pig flesh in there. And it's meant to evoke our love for these animals. And ironically, it's selling us their body parts. It's really, really dark. Let's hear from the butcher, who, and Tom Reagan, remember at the beginning of this the video, said that he was formerly a butcher.
I'm very interested in, and you're very welcome to Ireland. And you certainly are not what I thought you were going to be, namely a fundamentalist. And at least you say the word choice many times, your choice of thinking. You're not trying to impose anything. But really, we're products of millions of years of evolution. Millions and millions of years of evolution. And I think that in an affluent society, people tend to think that the cow has cartons of milk rather than being milked itself. And if you put a lady behind a trolley in a supermarket where she can push the trolley along on the wheels, pour away nice and quietly, the music plays, and
Dude, you get to your point. What are you? You're taking up too long of this interview.
Shops for her family by taking things off a shelf. There's not many generations before that things were vastly different. Right. And I'm talking with the blink of an eye in relation to the millions of years. And it is really a fanciful idea, dare I say fancy, in the kindest possible way, that it is a bit much to ask people to go with your philosophy, and dare I say, as a butcher for 40 years, the respect that I would hold for the animal that gives me my living and feeds.
Yeah, you respect that animal that you kill for money. Got it. Interesting. I would hate to be in his life and for him to tell me that he respects me, because I'd be a little terrified of that. Let me catch up on comments. Let's see. This aged pretty well. Yeah, this is a good one, huh? Vegans have had this injustice identified for decades. I know, and that's what's sad, isn't it, James? That's what's sad about this, that this was so long ago. And here we are having the same conversations decades later, just on and on. And, I had never seen this before. If we were shown stuff like this in schools, if we learned some of this history as well, we're all taught about civil rights. We're all taught about the civil rights movement. I don't even think we're really taught that much about like women's suffragettes and stuff. We should learn that too. We should learn all these justice movements, but we should definitely learn about the animal rights movement in school and from our parents and everybody. It's just a big blind spot. It's sad that this is so old.
Ireland, and has fed Ireland for years. And sent us.
God, this guy loves to talk. How long is this guy going to talk for? Like, you're not the show, buddy. You are not the show.
40 million of us now all claim to be Irish all over the world.
I think we get your point. You're saying that if you take the passage of time, the history, the change that is being wrought here is literally the blink of an eye. And what you're trying to do is to turn us into something we're not in a historical time span that is really far too fast.
Too fast. Guys, it's too fast. Slow down. James, slow down, okay? That sign of yours, take it slow. Take it slow. Maybe if you ask people just to walk into the grocery store a little slower to buy the vegan food, then this guy would be okay with it. Just tell him to, take your time, think about it a little bit.
First, I want to thank you for your comments and say that whenever I have a disagreement with a butcher or any other person who's involved with directly with animals, it's never a question of my attacking the person, but trying to address the issues themselves. And so, what I think is that as a philosopher, what matters to me is where the strengths of the arguments are. And when I've thought about it, I mean, it seems to me the strengths of the arguments are in favor of the view that I'm trying to expound. Now, to get society, in terms of a mass movement, to agree with that idea, obviously is going to take a long time. It's not something that is going to happen in the blink of an eye.
Right.
But of course, what we know is, as a matter of historical fact, the people who have wanted to change society in fundamental ways have always faced the same kinds of challenges. In my country, and I don't mean to associate the two ideas completely at all, but in my country, there was a protracted effort to end slavery, as you know. And the people who first started to end slavery had all the odds against them. And people said to them, what you're asking for is impossible.
And you actually make that comparison, that it is the way we treat animals today is the way we treated blacks in the past, the way not too many generations ago we treated women.
In some respects, but not in all respects, because we're not denying it.
Well, I mean, pretty damn similar and maybe a lot worse. Okay. We've hardly moved a tick since this interview, for God's sake. Indeed. Ridicule, violent opposition. We can't get to acceptance. Why? I can't. I don't know.
Animals the right to an education, the right to that sort of thing. But
he's being careful with that answer because he knows he's very, I mean, obviously he's a smart guy, but he's very smart in how he's handling this interview. I mean, this guy was great. So great.
In terms of the habits of the culture, in terms of the sensibility that's brought to bear on a position of power. Yeah, because we had the power over the women. Men had power over women.
Just one,
but I certainly is the case.
Hang on. We need part 3. I believe this is part 3. Put that up.
This to its logical conclusion. I mean, all animals just get out there, breed, eat the grass. If your elephants trample the local villages,
what do you do?
If you're lions and you're getting old, kill humans instead of gazelles. I mean, is that what you're saying?
No, because what we know is this. Like everybody in the audience, I think we would all recognize that we are sitting here and we all share certain basic fundamental rights. But what happens, of course, is sometimes our rights come into conflict. And so if we have sometimes this. Like everybody in the audience, I think we would all recognize that we are sitting here and we all share certain basic fundamental rights.
Yeah.
But what happens,
our progress towards veganism
conflict. And so if we have one kidney in 7 people who need it, what do we do in a case like that? It's not we say, well, everybody has a right. We don't know what to do in difficult cases like that. So similarly, if we say that animals have a basic right to be treated with respect, that doesn't mean that it means that we're never going to come in conflict with their rights.
Would you put all humans ahead of all animals?
What do you mean ahead?
What?
I guess.
I mean, if you had a choice, you're in a boat. You know this question.
Sure.
You've got a despicable human being down.
We always have to do this. We always get this.
One end of the boat, and you've got a very smart dog, your pet for life, up the other end of the boat. You can save one of them. Which do you save?
I think that is a very difficult question, and I'm not sure I know an answer that's going to give.
But it's not the simple one.
No.
That you would save the human. It's not that simple.
I don't.
Well, it's easy to answer. Obviously, you have a personal preference for those that are close to you, so you might act on your personal preference. And didn't he make this question actually pretty easy? Didn't he say there's like a very despicable person and he could save his friend? To me, that is an easy answer. I'm saving that fucking dog, guys. Goodbye, despicable man. You go down with the ship.
You might save the dog.
Look, if it was
yeah.
It was like.
Is that controversial?
Does Farsight
not for
cartoons. I mean, he makes the point of if it was the dog and Hitler, who would you throw over? I mean, I don't think anybody would think twice about throwing Hitler over, would they?
Right.
Would they? Yeah. But I mean,
if it was Hitler's dog and Hitler, who would you throw? I don't know. And Mick.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Mick is there. Mick, Riley, you are actually in the production of meat, isn't that so? Yeah.
Man, they really scripted this thing out, didn't they? He's like, he knows everybody in the audience. He's like, okay, you're gonna sit here. You're a butcher. You're in, like, this is not natural. This is all like scripted out.
So
you're very welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Again, you're looking very healthy for a fellow who hasn't eaten meat for 40 years or whatever.
Yeah, what does that tell you there, guy?
what sort of production are you in, Mick?
I'm breeding pigs and turkeys.
How many pigs and turkeys would you turn out every year?
Thousands of them.
Thousands of them.
Well, you have to do that because we make so little money on each of them. You have to have thousands to make a living.
And tell me,
Oops, he gave up the game. Whoops.
just Mick, what is your attitude? I mean, your behavior philosophically now, he doesn't hold it against you, but philosophically it's barbaric.
Well, I'm very interested in what he has to say, and I must say, you have a very gentle way of putting it across. But I think, quite honestly, it's a mishmash of conflicting ideas. Now, I don't want to get into a sort of a point-for-point debate with you, but to say that foot and mouth was a consequence of factory farming in England is absolute nonsense.
To say what?
To say that foot and mouth was a consequence. I don't want to get into a sort of a point-for-point debate with you, but to say that foot and mouth was a consequence of factory farming in England.
I can't understand what that word is. Can y'all?
But to say that foot and mouth was a consequence of factory farming in England is absolute nonsense because, you know, sheep running around a field.
Sounded like he said fucking something, but I'm sure he didn't.
Who are the main carriers, unfortunately, of this blooming plague.
Sure.
But the sheep who are running around the field in England, they cannot be, for any instance, be described as factory farming. So, I mean, you know, that's out of it. Also, I think humans are extremely lucky being the top of the food chain, and we have a choice. But having a choice, we also have responsibilities.
Yes.
Now, I think it's wrong to assume that there's an act of violence committed towards an animal when he or she is being prepared for the food chain.
Oh, God. I think it's wrong to say anything violent is happening to an animal that's being prepared for the food chain. What the hell? What the hell? That was about as eloquent as I am today. Let's hear that again.
It's wrong to assume that there's an act of violence committed towards an animal when he or she is being prepared for the food chain. They're reared properly, they're reared humanely, they're treated properly and fed, etc. Because if you don't do that, they're not going to grow properly anyway. And
Pig farmer, you know better.
it's not a violent end. It's because the animal has no consciousness like we have.
It's not a violent end because the animal has no consciousness. Okay, got it. Didn't you just call him he or she just a moment ago? I was going to applaud him for that. He didn't call the animal an it. But now he or she is not conscious. Okay, yeah, says the pig farmer. Who spends
because
time
the
with
animal
pigs.
has going to grow properly anyway. And it's not a violent end. It's
Not a violent.
because the animal has no consciousness like we have. I think that's very important. The gazelle didn't run away from the lion, as Pat was saying, because the gazelle had no consciousness of that this lion is.
Oh, okay. So the gazelle had no consciousness to run away from the lion. So they were running. Why? It was just muscle reflexes that they started running. But no thought behind it. Yeah. Let me just read some comments here. Dangerous rhetoric. Indeed. Dennis, do you guys think there's any moral difference between how beings are treated if their levels of sentience are different? Because I talked to a vegan today who said killing one sentient insect wouldn't be as bad as killing one cow. I wondered if you guys think there's any difference. Same. The gazelle was preparing for a marathon. Yeah, probably. Just preparing for that marathon. Okay, let me think about you think there's any moral difference between how beings are treated if their levels of sentience are different? A vegan today said killing one sentient insect would not be as bad as killing one cow. Again, like I really like we watched James Aspie in the first I first reacted to James Aspie's outreach, and I really liked when James Aspie went on Logan Paul's podcast, and his answer was to like Logan Paul was saying, like he's like, I understand you, but trust me, like I'm more important than a squirrel. I'm sorry, but I'm more important than a squirrel. I'm just gonna say that. And then James said, to you, but to the squirrel is more important. So it's like a perspective thing. Like obviously the mosquitoes values their life more than, the cow. So, I mean, just don't kill anybody, Now there's self-defense though. Like if it's a mosquito, right, and they're coming after you, do I think you don't have a right to defend yourself from the mosquito? Not really. I don't really think that. If a cow is charging at you and you're about to die, do you have a right to defend yourself? Sure. Yeah, I think so. That's where I land on that. But you could also just not kill either of them if they're not bothering you.
Is going to have me for breakfast in the morning.
I don't know if that exactly answered your question, Dennis, but yeah, I just feel like you need not rank, animals' value. You don't have to rank their value to not harm them. Just they're all valuable,
Because Ed was just saying, here's a line, maybe he's going to chase me, get out of his way, he doesn't like the smell of pepper for a while. There's no consciousness on the animal's part. Luckily, we humans have. Now, the other thing is, if we give rights to animals, for instance, they have choice, they can go to discos or, well, they can't vote, like you say, and quite rightly. But if they have...
interestingly, I forget who I was watching, but someone was saying, actually, we should give animals the right to vote. And what they were talking about was like having someone like vote on their behalf. Like, I thought that was an interesting idea because people always mocking the idea, oh, what are you going to give animals the right to vote now? Oh, so maybe like you have someone like representing the animals and they get to vote? I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
Bestow some rights on animals. And we say, right, we go down the line to, let's say, dogs and cats and pigs and cattle and sheep.
Another long-winded question.
Which would be terrific. But how the hell do you stop the cat chasing the mouse then? You see, the animals then don't bestow rights.
It's not the question. The action is what you do, not what the cat does. This is just dodging. How do we stop you from doing what you do to pigs all day? That's what we should maybe start with before we start talking about the cat and the mouse.
On other animals, and there's no respect.
All right,
so
yeah, what about
it'd be
that?
a waste of time.
It's a good point, Mick. We're at the top.
He said it's a waste of time. I feel like we just wasted like 2 or 3 minutes listening to him when we could have been talking to Tom.
And you're asking us to bestow rights on these creatures that are down below us in the order of things. But the fox doesn't give the chicken any rights. The cat doesn't give the mouse any rights, or the little bird.
Are we like, I feel like, didn't we do this one already? Is my brain collapsing from B12 deficiency right now? Because I feel like we already went through this argument and now we're did we not? Maybe we didn't. I don't know.
Bird in the tree. The magpie gives nobody rights as far as we can figure it out. So why should we be the ones
to sleep? That's what's
exercise all the responsibility.
My foot is deficient right now.
Well, if you think about the human situation, and I appreciate your comments and thank you for the spirit in which they're made, but if you think about the situation, we don't demand reciprocity even within the extended human family. In other
Right.
words, it is the case
Good answer.
that here we are in a situation that you
Answer.
have rights and I have rights, and I'm to respect your rights and you respect my rights. We don't require that all the time of human beings. We don't require of children, for example, that they must respect our rights before we respect their rights.
But do
don't
we?
require,
Okay, and that's fair enough
Right.
that we don't. Sometimes the poor, the undernourished, and so on, we look after them, and we don't expect them to.
You know, it is a nice conversation. I'll give the host some credit. Like I mean, this is a very like BBC, NPR style conversation. It's very respectful, polite.
do anything in exchange.
That's right.
But do we have responsibility?
It's not
to,
what we see mostly these days.
You know, to stop the mouse being killed by the cat. I mean, you know, that is violent. It's what a way.
Why are you wasting time asking the same question that the guy asked? They're like trying to fill the time, I feel like. We could be hearing from him. He's the guest. We're trying to get his views.
To go, being eaten by a cat, or even played with by a cat, not even eaten.
Yeah. I think in the case of predator-prey relationships, that is in the case where there are natural predators against natural prey, that's a disanalogous situation to ours. In the case of predator-prey relationships, what happens 99% of the time is the prey is able to get away from the predator. I mean, if that were not the case, there would not be any prey left for the predators to go after.
So it's a gamble.
So the point is, that
It's
what we
a
have
dodge.
in the predator-prey
You're
relationship, or we have
derailing.
individuals who are capable of taking care of them.
Kind of surprised that Tom's going for this. He should have just steered it back. He should have just steered it back.
Themselves without our having to take care of them. So we don't have to intervene in that. But I want to go back to, if I may, to the question about the lifeboat. What do you do in a lifeboat situation? What's important about that?
Thanks for being here, James. Guys, if you're not subbed to Vegan Sign Guy, go sub to Vegan Sign Guy. Does great street outreach, pretty much damn near daily. Talking to people on the street, giving his time to speak up for the animals, which is so cool. Vegan Sign Guy. So go sub to James's channel. That's James Durkin there. Dennis, I told the guy that a vegan would see no difference between the sentient insect and cow, but he called me insane for that. It's going to differ between people, I think, you know, because some people will see a difference, and I think it's fine to see a difference. But again, the question really isn't about ranking animals in terms of their sentience, and it's fine to like go and have those kinds of philosophical debates and questions, but that is kind of getting away from the point, I think. So I think I'm not saying this to say you did anything wrong, Dennis, but I do think that what you said is probably not the, you know, everybody's perspective who's vegan. But it's sort of my perspective. I mean, like, you know, they each value their life.
That is not only asking the question, well, what do you do in an extreme case like that? What do you do in an extreme case like that? For example, suppose you're driving home, your house is on fire, your neighbor's house is on fire, your daughter's in your window, and your neighbor's daughter's in the next window, and you can only save one of them. What do you do in a case like that? It seems to me we'd all say, well, you save your daughter, of course, but that doesn't mean we think, well, you have no obligations to your neighbor's daughter, or that somehow she's not on the moral map.
Right.
And so the point is, what you would do in an extreme case like in the lifeboat, it doesn't transfer to the ordinary case. What do you do today in your life? Because you're not on a lifeboat. You're not an extreme case. You're here and you're in the restaurant and you have a menu in front of you and you can order this or you can order that. That's not a lifeboat situation.
Do I have the boring salad, or do I have the coq au vin? You know?
I hope you have neither. Actually, I mean, the point is this.
Good answer.
Growing up in the meat and potatoes family like I did, I thought about vegetarianism like this. There was a salad and a baked potato and a steak. And what was left is you took the steak off and you had the salad and the baked potato.
And it's more interesting.
But vegetarian's more interesting.
Darby, even though if you take the...
I've been eating a lot of potatoes lately. I like potatoes. I love, maybe this is weird, but I like a plain baked potato. bake up a baked potato, eat that, no salt, maybe put some nooch on there if I want some of those nutrients, but plain baked potato hits the spot. Let's do part 4. Where's that at? Might be this one. Hang on. Let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, here we go, part 4. I might do a recipe about how to make a baked potato, because I started that series, about Jer's recipes, and it was a hit. I mean, people demanded more. The masses, the throngs of people telling me, Jeremy, when's the next recipe? When's the next recipe? I mean, I couldn't. My phone was blowing up on that stuff, and so I should probably give the people what they want, more recipes. All right, here we go, part 4.
Meat eater.
A lot of audio differences.
You're a meat eater.
Absolutely. I mean, I actually like to name my food. I like to personally pick out the lobsters that I eat and call them all Mr. Pinchy.
Oh, what a funny guy. Oh, so I mean, to this point, things were going pretty well. Now we've got a troll in the comments. Here's your back before social media. Here's your Facebook troll guy in the flesh. They used to have to do it in person. Now they get to hide behind a computer screen.
And really enjoy actually eating them.
You've no guilt about selecting one of those 10 lobsters
see, this
for
thing,
death.
nobody involved in this argument actually said the primary function, which is that we eat meat because we can. It's as simple as that. And I mean,
that has been said. That was I think that was actually like the very first point that was made, was that the host said, yeah, we, since the beginning of time, we've eaten meat, so we can eat. And then Tom said, yes, we can eat meat. And he specifically addressed that. He said, just because we can do something doesn't mean we ought do that. So yes, they did cover this. Maybe you were busy being stupid.
I mean, Tom can come up with sort of his various different arguments, and the butchers come up there for sort of statistical.
Sorry, guys, he was busy being stupid. Let me read y'all's comments. Okay, no new comments. I guess I was not engaging enough in this last little bit. Okay.
We eat meat because we like to eat meat, and there is certainly the idea of actually saying that animals have rights is completely ludicrous. We might have certain responsibilities towards animals because we're at the top of the food chain, and there's almost this sort of human guilt. It's like a PC species basis that we're top of the food chain. We will eat.
This guy's top of the food chain right there, guys. That's your alpha male. What an alpha male. Oh my God. It's so intimidating to be in the presence of such an alpha, right?
Things all the time. In person, and I actually quite like going to, I'd like to lick a cow to make sure that it's ripe before I have a steak.
Yeah, you already trolled once. Look at her laughing. It's so cringy. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Kind of thing, and I don't really have a moral problem with that whatsoever. And I have to say, what we're getting is a brilliant sugar-coated version.
I'm glad that this guy is being the face of the meat eater. That works out really well.
The rights movement tonight, and I have to say, I have to compliment you, Tom. You're doing a fantastic version, because I know your work, and I've gone through your websites and stuff like that. And
I bet you have, you triggered douchebag.
We're not seeing the extreme. And the logical conclusion of the views that are coming through from this,
they're clapping him. The audience is clapping the Facebook troll guy.
But no, you see,
look at Tom right now, just losing faith in humanity. Look at it.
Seeing you're doing a fantastic version of the animal rights movement tonight, and I have to say, I have to compliment you, Tom. You're doing a fantastic version, because I know your work, and I've gone through your websites and stuff like that, and we're not seeing the extreme. And the logical conclusion of the views that are coming through from this,
Look at him. He hates this guy.
But no, you see, there is no moral responsibility for us not to eat meat. It doesn't even come within our moral framework whatsoever.
Not yours, because you're anyway.
The thing is, when
comments. Yeah.
on a basic level, because we have evolved so far beyond, you don't want to basically be sort of beating up some animal before you kill it. But we like meat. It's simple as that. As a species, we like to eat meat. Kids instinctively will like to snack on a burger or whatever. And you can.
Hang on. Kids will instinctively like to snack on something that you've put in front of them that no longer resembles an animal. Okay. But what do we hear all the time in the, like, put a carrot in front of a baby and put a bunny rabbit? Is the baby going to eat the bunny rabbit? I don't think so. I don't think so.
You can bring in all the health arguments you want or whatever, but don't try and put it into some sort of philosophical thing, because Nietzsche will then come around and say exactly the opposite of what you're saying.
Okay, this lady behind.
Wow, this guy got so triggered by the most calmest discourse. It was so level. We were doing great. We even had a butcher and a pig farmer who didn't quite embarrass themselves in the way that this guy did. Now, their points were stupid. Yes, we will grant that. They were dumb. But this guy.
Yes, what do you want to say?
Hey.
Well, I'm hearing a lot about evolution tonight, and after hearing the last speaker, I'm not so sure.
Wait. Can Tom not respond to that guy, please? Why did we just... Can we put it back on Tom, please? This isn't fair.
Evolved so far, quite frankly. Most people,
Did we evolve?
think,
If that guy's the evidence of our evolution, did we evolve?
At the sight of an animal being treated cruelly. If their dog, for example, was treated cruelly, they would try to stop it immediately. I have visited intensive pig units. I grew up on a farm, and I know this is a cliche, but I think it's very true. If slaughterhouses had glass walls, I think most people would be vegetarian, because I don't think there are many people like that who enjoy the fact that what they're putting into their mouth has suffered before it was actually killed, or that it has lived a bad life. And I think we have to believe in the innate goodness of people, and we have to inform people about what's going on. And I think education is the key.
Ian?
Good comment. Well, it's just weird. Like, shouldn't Tom be allowed to respond? He's whatever.
Classic example of the horribly intellectually smug attitude that you tend to get from an awful lot of vegetarians.
Answer the question.
No, the thing about it is,
Nice.
like, you can say, for example, oh, it's not nice to actually kill an animal. But of course it's not nice to...
Well, he's not getting a question. He's just having a little rant.
Nobody wants to see an animal being killed.
Well, then don't
that's
eat
like,
it.
No, but that's basically like saying, I mean, if I see a woman having a child,
She's
it's
all
not
about
a
it
nice
right now.
process.
She is us.
It's not going to stop me having sex. This is one of those things.
God help.
Dude, stop talking.
Well, then don't
That's
eat
like not nice to actually kill an animal.
This guy. Why did they give him the microphone? It was like all scripted out. I guess they wanted to make some good TV.
Of course it's not nice to kill an animal. Nobody wants to see an animal being killed.
Well, then
Wait. I heard that animals aren't conscious. So why would it not be nice to kill an animal?
It's like, no, but that's basically like saying, I mean, if I see a woman having a child, it's not a nice process. It's not going to stop me having sex. This is one of those things.
God help.
That was a weird comment. That was weird. Let's hear it again. Just because it was so dumb that it should be played again. He should have to live with that comment.
But it's being killed.
Well, then don't
That's
eat
like,
it.
no, but that's basically like saying, I mean, if I see a woman having a child, it's not a nice process. It's not going to stop me having sex. This is one of the...
Wow. Man. All right, well, that happened. Having sex, though. Kane, where you been? You weren't first. Kane. Oh my God.
Those things.
God help the woman.
You go through ludicrous bunkum arguments. Of course, nobody wants to see a bullet going through a cow's head or whatever. But these things happen, and it's a process that we have
They
to...
don't happen
Are we prepared
naturally.
to accept it?
Sorry.
Yes, I am. As a person who's conscious, quite happy to accept that fact. And yes, I will pick out a lobster that's alive and I will throw it into the pot.
Yeah.
And I had a beautiful fillet steak tonight, and I sat there and I was thinking,
You told us this already. Can we hear from Tom, please?
when I went, that cow died for a good reason, because I had a bloody good meal and it was worth it, you know?
Can I just ask, Nuala, the question about, what would happen to the animal in the end? They all die of old age.
He's the expert.
I've often wondered why you don't.
You've got a professor of philosophy, and it's his topic. Let's hear from him.
See ancient robins in the garden, with gray feathers. And the reality is that once they become infirm.
First of all, that guy made this charge that Tom is really extreme and that he's not showing his extreme values during this program, which he's just intellectually discussing his moral philosophy on the program. But this stupid program is not giving him a chance to respond to that guy. That's just so weird. Are we going to hear from him again?
They are either killed by crows or eaten by foxes or whatever. They have a pretty nasty death in the end.
Well, Pat, I don't think you have to worry. You don't have to worry about Donnybrook being overrun by cows or anything like that. These animals exist in large quantities because we breed them for that purpose. Yeah. And we frankly, I suppose, don't know what would happen because we never let them live their lives.
No, what I'm saying is that if you were to allow, for example, the sheep on the mountain and they're going to die naturally, many of them would die in drains when they're too old to pick themselves up.
It's like they never prepare. They've never, all these hosts and stuff, they've never thought about the topic before. Or if he has, and this is still where he's coming down, it's bad. A lot of the people, damn near everybody that has a show shouldn't have a show. Why'd y'all let me have one? Y'all are enabling me.
What I'm saying is that they're going to end, as we all are, one way or the other. And there is a view that says a humane, quick.
Look at Tom right now, should I still be here?
Death in your prime is actually
so that's why we eat meat.
Preferable. No, I'm just suggesting that to you. Is preferable to being devoured while no. If you listen to the point I'm making, it's preferable to being devoured while still half alive by one of the predators in nature. That's an argument.
Well, it's an argument, Pat, but I don't think it holds much water, frankly, because these animals, for the most part, especially poultry and pigs, live completely unnatural lives in totally artificial situations.
Mick, you're one of the people who's accused of that.
What is happening on this show? Who is she? She's pretty cool. I like her.
We can talk all night about blood and guts and gore and everything. Which is not a pretty scene. I'm sure if somebody was taking out your appendix, it wouldn't necessarily be make front page news.
Oh, it's like that. We're killing them. It's so analogous to taking out someone's appendix because they need to have their appendix out or they would die. It's completely analogous to that, what we do to animals.
Yeah, but one is a glass wall around to save your life.
If you put a glass wall around an operating theater, these things exist, these things go on. Like I said before.
Yeah, Tom knows that. That's why he's on the show. He's on the show because these things happen. If they didn't happen, he wouldn't have to waste his time in front of a bunch of clowns.
The animal, fortunately for it, has no consciousness of impending death.
Now we're back to it. He was on He or She.
It's done fortunately for it. Has no consciousness of impending death. It's done humanely. Now, luckily, we have a choice.
All right, guys. Sorry, I meant he does it humanely. So once again, I keep on doing this where I play a video and I get a little ways into the video and then they explain how humane the process is, and then I end up looking like a fool.
And all this, I can do as Tom does. I can eat, I presume, beans or cabbage or lettuce, whatever, fine, and lentils. I don't like that stuff. I would eat a certain amount of it, yes, but I would like some fish. I would like some beef. I'd steak like I had this evening. Some eggs, chicken, whatever.
I want it though. We're
extremely fortunate. Now, Tom also said, and this is where, if you want a bit of tragedy in it, he said that 2/3 of the people on the planet don't get meat. And I think that's an appalling situation. But
that's the appalling situation, Tim, is that 2/3 of the people on the planet don't get meats.
The reason they can't.
I guess I could understand why someone who makes a living killing pigs would like more business.
Get it. It's not by choice, unfortunately. It's because of the economic problems which we have in the world, some of which are created by perhaps the country that you came from yourself. Now, and I don't want to start a political argument here, but
are you going to stop talking? Are we going to hear from Tom again? Let's look. He's talking. Oh my God! It's about to happen. It's about to happen, guys.
Very fortunate in the first world to have a choice. If you like eggs, or if you like steak, if you like lettuce, by all means eat it. Now, don't gorge on it. I mean, balance it up so that at least you have a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And that's what makes it interesting.
Right, Tom.
Yeah.
You've heard the arguments.
I've heard an awful lot, yeah. And I think what I've heard is stated several times is we eat meat because we can eat meat. We eat meat because we enjoy eating meat. But, I mean, I don't think that really addresses any moral issue. I mean, just because you can do something, you enjoy do something, doesn't answer any question about whether you should do it. I mean, you just can't make that inference. You need an independent argument. I'm not saying you don't have an argument, just saying that's not an argument for eating meat, that I can. The other thing is the suggestion that what I'm giving is a sugar-coated version of animal rights.
Thank you for addressing
I'm giving my version of animal rights. I'm not giving the sugar-coated version of animal rights.
And a strong version of it. It's not sugar-coated. It is what he believes. We should not kill animals. So it's definitely not sugar-coated. I'm so glad he got back to that. He has a good memory to have kept up with all that nonsense that he had to address.
There is a media conception, a popular conception of animal rights as a bunch of thugs, lawbreakers, or Three Stooges activists running through the streets naked or throwing pies in people's faces or something like that.
Who's that? Who's the naked one throwing pies? Well, you know you're in here. Is that you, Kane? Were you running around naked, throwing pies at people? Who's the violent one?
That's not what I rep. Activists are a bunch of thugs.
Everybody identify yourself.
And there is a media. I'm giving my version of animal rights. I'm not giving the sugar-coated version of animal rights. I mean, there is a media conception, a popular conception of animal rights as a bunch of thugs. Lawbreakers. Or Three Stooges activists running through
Stooges. You're all
the
here.
streets naked or throwing pies in people's faces or something like that. That's not what I represent. I mean, and what's very important for everybody in the audience and everybody watching the show is not to think that there is just a monolithic animal rights movement that is represented by the media.
Okay.
And all due respect to the media.
One last question to you.
Oh, let's cut off Tom now. We just spent 10 minutes listening to these trolls, but yeah, let's cut Tom off. We're running out of time.
Tom, and before we conclude, and that is the theory now that the reason we evolved from the apes is that we developed the ability to use weapons and kill prey. And it was the extra protein provided by meat which allowed our brains to grow and allowed us to become what we are. Isn't that a telling argument in favor of eating meat?
You know, I don't think so, because what that would show once more is that, if true, is that something happened in the past that involved our killing animals to arrive at a certain level of evolution. But it doesn't follow that because this has happened in the past, we have to continue to do it in the present or into the future.
What's kind of funny is like people using this "we evolved to eat meat" thing. Evolution basically means, like change over time. We evolved, we changed over time. They would like us to stop the evolution and stay right where we're at and not evolve anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was brilliant. What do y'all think? Naked vegans, though. Naked vegans, though. Yeah. Naked vegans throwing pie. Sound like fun days back in that animal rights movement back in the day.
Tom Reagan, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Reagan.
You did great.
All right. Food for thought. I think you'll agree from Professor Tom Reagan. That's all we've time for. Back in the radio Monday morning, not at 10.
actually, I believe Tom Reagan would not believe that animals are food. So maybe you should think a little harder about that, especially before you do a program. And that was kind of sad that Tom had only about a minute and a half, I think, to respond to all that buffoonery that happened in the 10 minutes preceding his being able to speak again. Okay. What do we got? We got more Mel and Steve that we can watch more Mel and Steve. The reason why we were reacting to so much Mel and Steve, guys, is because Mel and Steve keep putting out videos. I react to a lot of their stuff because they are just cranking it out. So I hate to be repetitive, but Mel and Steve for the win, you know what I mean?
From living that lifestyle.
Like stop me from like being vegan or something?
Yeah.
I don't really know why I don't, honestly.
You don't know why you're not vegan?
Like, whilst obviously I know that like animals are killed for like meat and whatnot, I didn't think it'd be that brutal.
And like we're taught things like humane and organic free range.
Yeah.
And when you actually see what humane, organic free range, RSPCA approved do, it's so shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But was there anything on there that you didn't know happens?
It was one with the baby chicks when they were like basically just being grounded up.
Can you believe we're doing that to babies?
Yeah.
Just because they don't produce eggs? Like, do you think there's anything that could justify what you saw on that screen?
I feel like with eggs in the news right now, everybody's talking about egg prices, that this is an important time for us to be educating people about male chick maceration, the horrors of the egg industry. I just feel like when an industry is kind of like in the news a lot, on the ropes, that's a great time for us to step in, because all they're talking about are egg prices. That's all they care about. The cost of eggs. We should be pointing out what happens in the egg industry. Anytime like you see, like, I mean, I don't think like social media activism is always the best use of our time, but if you see something, scroll past your Facebook feed or something that's like a news story about the price of eggs, great time to talk about male chick maceration, because most people don't know this happens.
I don't really think so, no.
No, I completely agree, because if you were in their position, would you want to go through that, or would you be like, no way?
No, I wouldn't want to go through that.
Yeah, a lot of people are against what you saw. Why do you think that continues to happen?
Probably because it's quite mainstream and mainstream even, and that people obviously like want like the meat and whatnot, and they don't really care what goes into it.
Yeah.
And obviously to keep up with the demand of like meat and whatnot, they will like over farm areas and find quicker and easier ways of killing animals that is oftentimes less humane.
Yes, yeah, you're right. It happens because people pay for it and want it. You're right, the demand. Do you think there's a good way to kill someone who doesn't want to die?
I don't know.
No, is there a good way to kill you if you don't want to die?
I mean, there are ways of doing it, but like, I don't think it's the best thing to do.
Yeah, because if you want to live, like there'll be no way to like kill anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, no, even if I felt no pain, I'd still want to live.
Yeah.
Like, I think taking away someone's life is the worst thing that we could do. So you're against what you saw, right?
Yeah.
How do you think we can shut that down?
Feed less into the market.
Or feed less, or
well,
because even if you give them any money, they're still going to continue, right?
Yeah. So it just cut it off completely.
Yeah. And how do you think we could do that?
I'll stop eating meat.
Yeah, meat, eggs, dairy, fish.
Yeah.
Leather, wool. Would you rather continue to pay for that, or would you rather stop and not be not be the one paying and also go through that?
I would stop and not be the one paying and also through that.
So do you know what you can do today? Hello.
Hello. Be vegan, I guess.
Yes, yes, you got it. You got it.
Yes. There is a camera there. You kind of need to move your ass. Scooch.
No worries, no worries.
What?
Yeah. So what would then stop you from living that lifestyle?
That was weird.
If anything.
Like stop me from like being vegan or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like cheese.
Yeah. Did you see the dairy industry on there?
A bit. Yeah.
So to create like milk and dairy, the mother cow has to be impregnated. It's the only reason she produces milk is because she's a mum.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. That's why I always tell everybody, because I was like, What? Don't
Yeah.
cows just eat grass and produce milk?
Well, no, because it's the same way that humans are. The females will only ever produce milk once that their bodies become like have the certain hormones after having a baby.
You got it. Yeah. So then we take the males away, and do you know what they do with the males because they don't produce milk?
Kill them and use them for meat.
Yeah, they just kill them. Sometimes veal, and then the females also get put into solitary confinement away from the mum until they're mature enough to have babies as well.
Yeah.
They then get put through that system of being like raped, have baby after baby taken away from them, and intensively milked.
Yeah.
When you think of them and what they go through, do you think our taste pleasure for cheese is worth paying for that to happen to them?
No.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. So I used to love like dairy cheese and dairy milk. I used to have it like every day. When I saw the dairy industry is what turned me vegan, I was like, oh, I really like cheese. So I'll never pay for it again, but I liked it.
Yeah.
There's so many good vegan cheeses now. To start with, there wasn't. Tasted horrible. But do you think
the vegan food has gotten a lot better? A lot of times at home, we'll have like vegan burgers or vegan like meatballs just because they actually taste nicer.
Yeah, it's so good. And now you've seen what happens behind the scenes. What would now stop you if you can get the same?
I get so tired, honestly, of having to talk to people. I know I'm gonna sound like kind of cranky right now, but I just get kind of tired of when people are like, "Oh, vegan food it's so good now." Like, yeah, it has been forever. It's been good for a long time. I don't know. It just kind of it's exhausting, isn't it? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's great that they're excited about food and they think that it's good, but it's just like it's not new. It's yeah, the food's been good for a long time.
Taste or similar taste? Nothing. And what about if the taste wasn't as good? Do you think it still justifies putting animals through that?
Good question.
No.
Good
Awesome.
question.
It's been really nice talking to you. You're so nice.
Thank you.
Did you get your prize?
Yes.
Awesome.
Speaking of nice, how nice is Mel?
What it is, but it's
Mel and
something.
Steve,
It's
you
something
guys
vegan,
are
it's very
angels.
nice. How was your experience? Did you watch the 3-minute movie too?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah? How do you feel about what happened?
It was uncomfortable seeing what happened.
Yeah. So would I be right to think that you're against what you saw?
Very.
Yeah. Why are you against what you saw?
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with
The
other
methods.
living creatures to
Okay.
go through pain
Oh, good.
for our needs.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I really like
It
that.
just
He's awesome.
I agree.
Sorry, I sold him
agree.
short.
Do
See,
you think there's any-
this is what happens when you underestimate someone. I thought he was going to say, I don't agree with the methods. But no, he said, I don't agree. Let's
Thing
hear
that
it
could
again.
be like
living creatures to go through agree with other living creatures to go through pain for our needs.
Yeah, I really like
It
that.
just
I agree. Do you think there's anything that could ever justify
Yeah, I know,
putting
Dennis.
another sentient being through pain and suffering?
Yeah, we have to hear that all the time. Like we heard it in the James Aspie one that I started with. You weren't here yet, but the guy was like, I'm going to tell you a story. And I mean, it's like, it's well-meaning, it's well-intentioned, it's great, but it's just like, we have to hear it so often. They were like, the guy was saying, we were doing this event there in San Francisco and we were going to go to a vegan restaurant afterwards. And so we all like ate a bunch of food beforehand. And then we got there and the food was amazing. Like, yeah, no shit. The food was amazing. It's just I'm tired of having to confirm that for people. The food's great. Eat the food. Eat it. Put it in your mouth. And you like it.
When we don't need to do that.
no.
So do you know what lifestyle aligns with what you're
Nobody
how
clip
you're
that and cancel me.
speaking right now?
No.
Vegan. Do you know what vegan is?
Yes, I do.
What's the vegan?
Isn't it people who swear you like eat any animal products at all?
Yeah.
So,
It's so like when you're steeped in the world for so long and then you realize, oh yeah, like a lot of people don't even know what a vegan is. It's so disenchanting and disheartening.
Yeah, so animals, or we don't wear them or use anything tested on animals.
Yeah.
Because like you, we're against any exploitation to them.
Yeah.
So we just don't use them and then don't pay into the industries that like do that. Do you think there's a good way to do that to animals?
I feel like there could be a more merciful option.
Yes.
Because the devices being used there, it was putting them through pain. It was just suffering for them. And I believe there are more merciful ways you can do it, which doesn't put them through so much pain.
Okay, well, I'll just explain to you that what you saw in there was all free range, organic, and RSPCA approved standard practice in the UK. What would it look like a more merciful killing?
I feel like, I don't know. Like, instead of
He's not dodging, by the way. He's just answering her question.
taking them from their life, like the chicks when they were just babies.
Yeah.
Like, instead of taking them from when they were their life, wait till they're at the end of their life, or
What, to kill them or let them die naturally?
let them die naturally.
Okay, that doesn't happen because people want animal products. The demand is so high.
Yeah.
That's why they're forcibly bred into existence to do that. What would stop you from aligning your morals, which seems to be really compassionate and kind, to living a vegan lifestyle?
I don't really know.
Would anything stop you from not paying for that again?
I don't really know why I don't, honestly.
You don't know why you're not vegan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the same. All my life, I ate animal products, and I used to enjoy eating animals. When I saw the footage, I was like, what? Like, oh my gosh, it was like an epiphany moment, and I thought I can never justify ever paying for another sentient being to be killed for me or anybody ever again.
Yeah.
So then it was like, I need to change right now. So do you think you'll be changing?
I can see it happening.
Yeah?
Yes.
How, if you were the victim inside that gas chamber, or the male chicks about to be blended up, how quickly would you want the oppressor on the outside stopping and saving you?
Yeah. Quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd say instantly if it was me.
Yeah.
I'd want to be saved instantly. And then, if someone saw the suffering that I was going to endure, do you think we have a duty to speak up for that individual as well?
what do you mean?
So, like before today,
I got distracted by the chanting. I was wondering what is happening in the background.
you may not have known what happens to animals, like being blended up alive, the dairy industry. I didn't know that cows produce milk because they're a mum. Like I said earlier, I thought they just produce milk because they eat grass.
Yeah.
Now that we know
there
the
it is.
truth, do you
It's like a Palestinian protest.
think we have a duty to speak up for those victims and tell other people like yourself who are clients who just don't know yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I do.
So like when I went vegan,
Wouldn't it be nice if the animals had as large a movement of people speaking up for them?
I did the same. Went vegan, stopped paying for it myself, hold myself accountable, and then I was like, right, I need to tell other people because there's good people doing bad things they don't know, and they need an opportunity to learn and to change.
I wonder how many people in there are eating meat
Awesome.
every day.
I've got a card. Would you like to take this card away to learn more on there to help you?
Sure.
It's just got some awesome documentaries. Watch something on there called Dominion. That will show you all the industries like behind closed doors, basically, like what actually happens.
Yeah.
And there's other things on there like Challenge 22. You can sign up for free, and someone will help you transition to a vegan lifestyle, all for nothing. If you got any questions, then they'll help you on there. There's registered dietitians and stuff on there too.
Nice video.
Awesome. Have you got any questions for me to end?
I don't have any questions, no.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing the challenge. My name's Melissa. Lovely to meet you. Have a great
Melissa. Melissa and Steve. That's Mel and Steve. So good. So great. Phone 1%. Jeremy, I'll be gone soon buying events. I don't know what I'll do, Dennis. You're leaving my heart at 1%, Dennis. My heart is at 1% when you tell me that. Dennis. Come back. Charge your phone and come back. All right. I want Kane is here, I think. And I like his short that he put out recently. Let's watch it.
International Women's Day, hypocrisy exposed. Yo, so
Exposed.
check out all these feminists chatting about some female rights, female empowerment, and whatnot. Well, guess what? They're responsible for the largest violations of female rights and female empowerment in history, and it's called the animal holocaust. They might use some euphemism like animal agriculture or animal testing to make it sound nicer, but in reality, it's rife with all the things that feminists claim to be against: rape, slavery, torture,
Hey.
kidnappings, and murders. Animal exploitation in general is just as much a feminist issue as human rights. And the same should be said to you masculists or men's rights activists. The same thing happens to the male animals in the animal holocaust. So if you're pro-rights in any way, you should be vegan or else you're a hypocrite. Watch Dominion on YouTube for the truth and go vegan. International Women's Day, hypocrisy.
Yes. Well said, Kane. That was for International Women's Day a couple days back. All right, we were gonna, some days ago, I was gonna react to more of Kane's Omegle videos because they're good. So let me go back. Carb strong. Vegan speech backfires. Let me go back. That one was funny. This one was good. Let's watch this one. I didn't watch this on stream. This was great. Does Omega exist anymore, or is it gone? Because it looked like it was a pretty good handy tool for activists, I guess. Palestine people sometimes go to the animal rights activists and cuss them for talking about silly animals while there's a genocide. I would like them to define genocide and to figure out and explain to me how what we do to animals doesn't equate to a genocide. I guess we're not trying to wipe them out, right? We're actually trying to just keep the killing going in perpetuity. So maybe they're technically, animals maybe technically aren't being genocided in the sense that we're trying to wipe them off the planet. But we are. Kane defends animals. There we go. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. Okay.
Okay, this is the egg industry.
Previously. These are the males and the weak females in the egg industry.
Is it Dominion?
Oh, you seen it before?
Saying like, if I stopped eating meat to be vegan, then I don't have to stop doing dairy.
I'm here to show vegetarians too, because I believe that vegetarianism is just as cruel as meat eating. Yeah. Do you want me to show you the dairy industry?
No.
No. Right, so if it's not even good enough for your eyes, do you reckon that it's going to be good enough for your stomach? Do you think that it can truly be against animal abuse?
Kane, can I ask you, what do you use to edit? Because I really like how you used to do your videos, or I guess still do them, but in your old videos, I kind of like how you had that, you had a real consistent look with like the font and the colors and everything. It was pretty cool.
While still supporting the industries that abuse animals. Right.
Did Omegle get shut down because you were being too effective on that Omegle? They were like, nah, we got this guy Kane. He's turning everybody vegan on Omegle.
Oh yeah.
No.
No, you don't want to see it. You want to pay for it.
I've been brainwashed to like meat. If I got rid of it, I don't know what I would do without it. I'd probably go insane. You know, it's because it's part of my nature. It's part of my nature.
So you're just used to it, you mean?
Yes, I'm so used to it that it's like a drug, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know it's wrong, but you just couldn't stop.
Yes, because it's part of me.
so good with the music and the editing and everything. It's just...
Hello? Hello?
There we go.
Hello,
Hello, do you want to know why I'm here?
I'm from India.
All right, you're from India. Cool, I'm from the UK.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I'm here today? Do you want to know the reason why I'm here today?
Hello. Your voice is not clear, bro.
Would you like to know why I am here today?
Yes, of course, bro.
Okay, I'm here to show people the behind the scenes of the industries that abuse animals.
That's great. That's nice.
All right, okay. Are you against animal abuse?
That'd be a pretty cool thing if you were like doing this and encounter someone. The font I used was very XOT Premiere Pro. Oh, okay. Gotcha. But it's kind of funny, the awkwardness of like the tech difficulties of doing these. It's kind of funny.
It is breaking.
Are you against animal abuse?
No.
You're not? Are you
No, no,
for
yeah.
or against animal abuse?
Sorry, bro. Your voice is really breaking. Sorry.
Are you for or
Nice to meet you.
against animal abuse?
Yes, yes.
You're against it, okay. Do you eat meat, dairy, eggs, honey?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to show you what goes on in the egg industry. It's gonna be graphic. All right, I'm about to show you what goes on.
The male and female chicks are sorted onto separate conveyor belts.
Okay, I'm gonna skip
Here
ahead.
at Australia's largest hatchery,
444. Thanks
it's
for
been
the
genetically
timestamp.
modified to make the males a different color than the females.
Yeah, sure.
These are the males and the
You just showed them from Dominion, the scene where male chicks are being macerated in the egg industry.
females who don't lay eggs in the egg industry.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, yeah. Oh shit. That's really bad.
All right. Okay, so there you go. So
Right.
that's the egg industry. What do you think of that? Do you think that's animal abuse?
That's not good, bro.
That's not good.
For chickens also. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah. So who do you think's responsible for this?
Non-veg peoples.
Pardon?
Huh?
Yeah. Who buys the
Non-veg.
products?
Means who ate non-veg,
Pardon?
like chicken, mutton. Yeah. Hello.
Pardon?
You have great patience, Kane. This was a difficult conversation from a language barrier standpoint and a tech standpoint, but I remembered it. It was quite good.
Who means our government? Yeah.
The government, but who buys the products?
Yeah.
You.
No. I am pure vegetarian.
Pardon?
I am veg, bro.
You're a vegetarian.
I am veg.
You're
Yeah,
a vegetarian.
Yes.
Do you eat eggs?
No.
Do you eat dairy?
Huh? Yeah.
Dairy. Do you want me to show you the dairy industry?
Yeah.
This guy seems nice. I like how he's like, yeah, okay, show me.
Okay.
I'm kind of spoiling the ending, but I just remember from this one, he just seemed like he really wanted to be your friend, Kane. he was so nice. He wanted you to be his friend.
Now let me just get it up. What's the time stamp? Okay, this is the dairy industry.
Okay, let me.
So,
Okay.
are you veg or non-veg?
Pardon? No, I'm just getting it up for you.
Okay, let's go there.
Males in the dairy industry. They're all murdered because they don't produce milk.
This is more footage from Dominion.
This is the dairy industry for milk and cheese.
Yeah, dairy.
They have to kill all the baby boys because they don't produce breast milk. The kid that
Omegle never filtered for language. That's helpful. I've been battling with TikTok to get my videos posted because it's like every video that I post on TikTok gets a community warning or whatever. And then I have to go and appeal it. And then they let my video run. But for some reason, the one that I posted of Chris Hines, they won't even allow it with like an age restriction. And that's funny to me because I didn't even barely show any footage of animals in that clip. I'm going to play that clip for y'all. And I'm going to show y'all what YouTube will not, what TikTok will not allow.
kidnap them from the mothers.
We'll do that after this.
Because they don't want them, because the breast milk is sold to you. Dairy standard practice. So if you're not vegan, you pay for animal abuse. You're stabbing them in the throat.
That's really bad. Yeah.
It's terrible.
That's really bad.
So who do you think is responsible for this?
Our government, yes.
Do you buy dairy?
Sure. Means milk products.
Do you consume dairy?
No.
No, you just said a minute ago that you consume dairy.
Yeah.
So you do
your voice
consume
is very
dairy.
getting-
Do you consume dairy?
Dairy products like milk.
Do you consume dairy?
No.
No, but
Do-
you just said
do
that you
you?
did. Do you No, I
Do you?
don't. I'm a vegan.
Oh, me too, bro. Me too.
Pardon?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Hello. Ask.
Right, I can't really understand what you're saying. All right, okay. So you don't. Do you eat cheese?
Cheese.
Yeah.
Yes, I means sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so what I just showed you happens because of you. This cruelty.
No.
He said no.
Yeah,
no.
because in order for a cow to produce breast milk, she has to have a baby, just like a human child has to have a baby. So this is what happens. So you can consume dairy because they have to kidnap the babies from the mothers, so they don't drink the breast milk that's meant for them, and they murder them in here. Are you for or against this?
Against this, yes, for sure.
Okay, so do you think that you said you're against animal cruelty, but you pay for animal cruelty? Do you think that makes you a hypocrite?
Yes, it is really bad, bro. That's why I'm saying.
You said that you were against animal cruelty, but what I just showed you, you are responsible for that when you buy cheese. Do you think that makes you a hypocrite?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's very good. Do you know what the number one benefit of being vegan is?
He just seems like such a nice guy. He wants to be Kane's friend right now. Cain, he wanted to be your friend. And you're calling him a hypocrite.
What?
It really worked with it. I feel like it worked pretty well with this guy.
Obviously for the animals, the benefit is
Obviously,
that they're
yes.
no longer tortured and murdered because of you. But for you, the number one benefit is that since you said you're against animal cruelty, you no longer, and when you stop paying for animal cruelty and you go vegan, you no longer have to be a hypocrite. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So all right. So moving away from this conversation today, do you think that you're going to be a vegan or you're going to be a conscious animal abusing hypocrite?
Vegan, yeah. For sure.
Vegan. Very good. I've got some guidance for you here. Yeah. So that's a website that you can use.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll just let this is a Dominion. This is called Dominion. This is a documentary I showed you.
Hello, bro. I am little bit weak in English.
Okay. Just until the day comes that you're vegan, you will be a conscious animal abuser through your actions. So I'll let that rest on your conscience as you decide what side of history you want to stand on. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a speech by Gary Yourofsky, where he teaches everyone the moral imperative we all have to be vegan.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. This is a speech. This is a Q&A.
Gary.
This is not an isolated incident. Don't for 1 minute think that this is an isolated incident. This is how slaves are treated. You don't really think that slaves get treated nicely, do you? You really think white people were nice when they shipped black people over here on ships? You don't think Nazis were nice when they walked Jews and gypsies into the gas chambers, do you? And this happens because you want to buy those products. Yeah, that guy's a scumbag for doing that. But he's doing that because you want to eat what comes out of her body. And enough already. You're not a caveman and you're not a cavewoman anymore. Stop acting like Neanderthals. This is 2010. Give it up. It's not cute and it's not funny because animals are being abused. It is not your right. It is not your freedom to do this to them. You don't get to have freedom when somebody else doesn't. That's a violation. And if you wonder why vegans get so upset sometimes, like I am right now, you just saw some of it. Every time we show up at a farm, somebody's punching, kicking, and stabbing somebody. And something else that I'm curious about, how come when I show videos like this of people punching and kicking animals, people are more upset with that than when they shove a knife in their throat?
Yep.
So even if you find a farm where they're not punching and kicking, when they shove a knife in their throat or put a bullet between their eyes, how is that not cruelty?
There you go. So,
Man, it's been a while since I've watched that speech. That is so good. All those college students felt like they just got sent to the principal's office because they did something wrong. Man, one day we'll just watch that speech and react to it. But everybody's done that.
I'll screenshot that.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so anyway, it's nice talking to you. What's your name?
Yeah, me too.
What's your
My
name?
name is Ritik Punish Sharma.
Sharma.
Yeah. And
Okay.
yours?
My name's Kane. This is my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Uh,
You are doing a great job, bro. Keep it up.
That was really nice. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Okay. All right. So this is have a nice day. Nice to meet you.
Same to you. Same to you.
All right. Bye. See ya.
Bye. See you.
Okay, that was great. That was so
Hello.
good. That was so good.
Favorite song? I don't know. Saviour's Day
I haven't watched the rest of this now.
by Sons of Man. But do you know why I'm here today? No. Okay, I'm here to show people the behind the scenes of industries that abuse animals. Are you against animal abuse? Yeah.
What's going on
Do you buy
here?
meat, dairy, or eggs?
We don't have them. Oh, I can hear them, kind of.
All right, so meat, dairy.
Yeah.
All right, so meat, dairy, egg, honey industries, they're all horrible. I'm about to show you some footage of what goes on in the egg industry. This is our legal standard practice.
Here at Australia's largest hatchery,
males and weak females don't lay eggs, so free range, organic, barn laid, RSPCA wood. This is what happens to all of them.
females in their first day of life and sent into an industrial blender called a macerator.
Would you consider this to be animal abuse?
And referred to as humane by the RSPCA.
Yeah, so that's animal abuse.
Smaller hatcheries may use carbon dioxide.
Who do you think's responsible for this?
The chicks in plastic bags. All commercial egg farms, cage.
Who do you think's responsible for this? Bin Laden? No. Who buys the products? Who buys the products? Dairy. Dairy? Yeah, dairy's bad too. Do you want me to show you the dairy industry?
Sure.
I can hear you a bit now.
Oh, this was what you couldn't
Sure,
see.
okay.
You had like a black screen and you could barely hear the person.
Very quietly.
Wow.
This is the dairy industry because a cow has to be pregnant. Just like human women, a cow has to have a baby before they produce breast milk, and the breast milk is for the baby. But since you want to buy cheese, you have to kidnap the baby from the mother, and males don't produce breast milk, just like I don't. So this is why they go a slaughterhouse to be stabbed in the throat for veal. This is a dairy industry.
Animal abuse.
Yeah, this is the
Animal
dairy
abuse,
industry.
they said.
Do you buy dairy?
They said animal abuse. Yeah.
Yeah. So you buy dairy. So who do you think's responsible for what I just showed you? Burn dairy.
Burn dairy.
Yeah, but who buys from the dairy industry?
People.
Yeah, you one of those people? Pardon?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you think you're responsible for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're promoting here... Okay, that's very good, because I agree. So what we're promoting here today is veganism, right? And animal rights through the form of veganism. Right, so do you think that it's possible to be against animal abuse while supporting these industries and not being vegan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you think you can be against animal cruelty while still paying for this to happen?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
How? Even though you support this cruelty? All right. Yeah, so even though you support this cruelty, you still think you're against animal cruelty. Sorry, that was just my dad coming in. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, hello. I can't hear you.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say. They said, bruh.
I can't
they
really
said.
hear you. You're gonna have to type in chat. How can you be against animal cruelty while still paying for this to happen? All right, so you don't know what to say. Do you know what the number one benefit of being vegan is?
Wow, you had a lot of patience to stick with this one. I feel like I would have just moved on because, like, that's what Omegle's all about, right? Just person. You were not giving up. He said dumbass.
Yeah, save animals, right? So obviously it's a good guess. You said healthy, but that's another issue, right? That it's very good that you want to be healthy, but that's a different issue to animal rights. For the animals, of course, it's because they no longer have to be tortured and murdered because of you. And for you, the number one benefit is that you're no longer an animal abusing hypocrite through your own actions. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving away from this discussion today, do you think you're going to be a vegan or you're going to be a conscious animal abuser?
What?
I should have put this in. Anyway, that's it. Okay, get off the go now.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I
just
guess
heard
they
them.
just conceded, so they had to go.
I just heard them say fuck, and then I guess that was it.
Now they've lost. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.
Kane, you're awesome. Thanks for trying with that one. That one was tough. Yeah, so this short right here, this is what I was talking about. This short with Chris Hines cannot post it on TikTok. They, even after I peeled it, they said, nope, let's watch this. And this is what they wouldn't allow on TikTok. This one. Of all the things that I posted, this one's not allowed. Check it out.
Just finally, do you want to publicly apologise now to the farmer on behalf of the dozens of protesters who invaded the farm?
You saw how angry he was in the interview. He was already fired up from the second he connected to me.
So I've got a question for you, Chris. First of all, how dare you? You chose the best. You went to the best, a red tractor farm. So why did you do that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, well, as I explained to him, I mean, that the whole point of doing this was to just expose the general farming. We wanted to show just the reality of normal farming. We just wanted to find a farm that could just be like, well, this is the average farm that you are all buying from. It is the standard.
What you basically want is the world to turn vegan. Do you really think that behaviour like this, that people have now seen on their televisions, is going to make people think, do you know, I think I'll stop eating meat?
Well, I have seen some of the footage that was filmed in these farrowing houses over the weekend, and it does appear to show some dead animals.
So that was disallowed. That. I showed pigs in a normal setting, and TikTok called it animal abuse. There weren't even like any blood, gore, anything, just pigs, shots of pigs. And TikTok said, nope. I was wondering, is it because at the end she says, I reviewed the farrowing crates and there did appear to be some dead animals, which I did not show. But is that why? I don't get it. I do not get it. Because I've also shown far worse than that. I have actually posted on TikTok footage from the gas chambers. Like gas chamber footage. A whole minute. Just a whole minute of pigs thrashing around in gas chambers. And that was allowed. but that Chris Hines clip was not allowed. Amazing. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Go sub to Kane Defends Animals. I'm going to end the stream here, but thanks for hanging out, guys. And yeah, that was fun. Make sure you're liked and subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification as well, so you know when I'm doing the lives. Y'all have a good night.